Chris Sullivan just earned his first Emmy nomination for playing Toby on This Is Us. I'm Kevin Jacobsen of Gold Derby here with Chris. So, Chris, you weren't nominated for the first 2 seasons of This Is Us, but here you are breaking through for season 3 this year. So I have to ask, what was that experience like on nomination morning, hearing that good news?
To be fair, my work in the first 2 seasons was crap. And I got my my act together for season 3 and really started trying, really started giving it my all, and it has really worked out. It was kind of crazy. You know, I didn't realize it was Emmy morning on Emmy morning. I was at home in my hometown, Sacramento, with my parents, and I was out in the garage with my dad working on a hot rod, and Chrissy Metz sent me a text that said, "Congratulations." And I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder what that's for. I should probably wrong person. And then my publicist sent me a message, "Congrats." And I was like, huh. And I said, wait, for what? What's going on? And my publicist called and was like, "Chris, are you serious?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You've been nominated for an Emmy." And I was like, "Yeah, it's great. The show's been nominated for an Emmy. That's fantastic." And she's like, "No, you personally have been nominated for an Emmy." Mm-hmm. And it was quite a surprise. It was quite a surprise.
Absolutely. And so you are submitting the episode Toby, fittingly, at the Emmys, which is the 5th episode of the season, where Toby and Kate are waiting on pregnancy results. We see some of Toby's past for the first time, and it's a very big episode for you. So first off, what was your initial feeling on just seeing, the episode was called Toby and that it would explore some of your past?
It's always it's a real honor that the writing staff and that Dan Fogelman would not pause the story, but take an episode to focus on characters like Toby or characters like Beth, to give the audience a more well-rounded view of where they've been, where they've come from, and why they are the way they are today. And so it was quite exciting. I was really thrilled about it.
Absolutely. So I'm not sure if it was your decision to submit the episode or the producers or a consultant or whatever, but either way, when you look at that episode, what are the moments that you're especially proud of as far as your performance?
I selected that episode with Dan's help and with our showrunners, Isaac and Elizabeth, because I value their opinion greatly, and so we all kind of decided together that would be the episode to submit. And the fact that it's named after my character certainly narrows the focus. But the kind of the idea of that episode, the thing that was hard about that episode, to go to those places and to kind of get down and honest about depression and anxiety and all of those things. The thing that I'm probably most proud of is the people that I talk to who struggle with anxiety and depression, and other, mental illness, whether it's, bipolar disorder or whatever it is, that they felt that was an accurate and honest depiction of what they were going through. And what they have been through. So I was really proud that my performance came off that way for them.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like depression is kind of a difficult experience to really communicate on film or television, just because it's so internal and it's hard to really convey like the full weight of it for the audience. So I guess, how did you go about figuring out the best way to sort of treat this experience realistically?
I mean, by being depressed myself. Like I've experienced depression. I've experienced anxiety, crippling anxiety in my life. And I've tried to avoid it. I've tried to ignore it. I've tried to numb it. I've tried to shove it down. And the only way to deal with either of those things, any of those things, is to talk about it, to ask for help, and to connect with other people, to stay out of isolation. And so the episode and the things that we were talking about weren't foreign to me by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah.
And in this episode, you get the same treatment that the big three get, usually, where we get to see little Toby and teen Toby, played by Dylan Gage and Luke Clark.
Right. Yeah.
So did you get to like communicate with either of them at all?
You know what? I didn't. I still haven't met them. But I'm sure that they, you know, the directors that we have on the show are really good at tying all of those performances together. As you've seen, the acting coming up, the acting that comes from the young people on this show is pretty incredible.
For sure, yeah. And we also get to meet Toby's mother in this episode, played by none other than Wendy Malick. And you get to share a scene with her in the past where, you know, Toby is depressed and he's lying in bed, and she kind of tries to lift his spirits, say that, like, essentially his joy is as much a part of him as his sadness. Right. So, I mean, what was it like to work with Wendy Malick in that scene? Wendy is, you know, a legend in this industry. She's an incredible actor, an incredible performer, and the writing that the staff gave her for that scene was just, you know, it was poetry. It was beautiful. It was impeccable, and it was impeccably delivered. I think that's the hard thing to remember, you know, is we all have great moments of great joy and moments of great sadness in our life. And I think the mistake that I have made in my life, and I'm sure others have made it as well, is when those moments of great sadness come around, I think that things are going to be that way forever. Mm-hmm. And then I'm surprised when great joy comes back around. But then I think great joy is going to be there forever. And that is also not true. So staying unattached to both of those experiences and letting them kind of flow and continue on their way is really important for me, you know, as far as dealing with my own stress and anxiety and depression. Because if I grip onto either one of them too tight, the joy or the sadness, it makes the situation worse. Because they're always going to come and go, both of those things. That's kind of the cycle of everything. Mm-hmm. And you spend, I'd say, a majority of your screen time with Chrissy Metz, and I think you guys have had such a clear chemistry from the beginning. So, I mean, what do you think is the key to that sort of rapport you guys have? We have a great deal of trust in one another. We have a great deal of respect for one another, and we both have a good sense of humor. We hit it off from the get-go at the first table read before we ever even shot the pilot. And, you know, the only time that belongs solely to the actor is between action and cut. And so at the beginning, you know, Chrissy and I just made a deal that, you know, between action and cut is our time. We don't worry about anybody else. We don't worry about, you know, how much time we have, how little time we have, the mistake we made last time, and we just we try to stay as present and kind of playful in the moment as we can, which I think comes through. We are having a lot of fun, even in the difficult moments on screen. We're still enjoying telling the story. Yeah, definitely. And outside of Chrissy Metz, are there other actors on the show that you especially love to go back and forth with, just kind of as a ensemble? Justin Hartley is one of the funniest people I've ever met, hands down. I don't know. He certainly shows it on this show, but it's nowhere near as close to how funny he actually is. And we have a kind of a great repartee, if I do say so myself. And then, you know, Mandy and her husband Taylor and my wife Rachel and I have become close and have traveled together and get along really well. And I'm writing an album currently and performing live with Taylor. And so music kind of brings us all together. We're a very musical group of people. And you guys, you've won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Ensemble in a Drama Series 2 years in a row now, and you got to share that as a cast. So what has it meant for you to just get that recognition just in and of itself, but also like knowing that your peers in the acting world have voted your cast essentially to be like the best for a drama series on all of television?
Yeah, I mean that award means the most to us. We are grateful for that award above almost anything else because of who is voting. Our fellow actors in the Screen Actors Guild are voting on that award, and to be given it 2 years in a row, for a network television drama in a current television landscape that is delivering some of the most epic dramatic television, in the history of television is a real honor. And it's not, honestly, it's not something that we take lightly. Like we want to keep doing good ensemble work. We want to keep, the writers keep writing these scenes, not just for the regular cast members, but the writing is so good. That's why Felicia Rashad, shows up. That's why Michael Angarano comes on. That's why we get these amazing actors to come play these roles, because the writing is just, it's relentlessly high quality.
Yeah, so Toby, he's now in a new stage of his life, kind of as we move through season 3, where he's a dad now, and initially he's a bit hesitant to get attached to his son, Jack, because of how much he's struggling, but eventually he does. And so what kind of father do you see Toby being just moving forward?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a really honest dad. I think, we are made to believe, and we are made to behave as if, having a child is nothing but joy and rainbows and butterflies. And I know for a fact, through watching, probably 8 or 9 different couples, family and friends over the last year had kids. We had like 13 babies come into our life through family and friends. And it was 2 sets of twins. Both sets of twins were in the NICU. My brother's baby was in the NICU for a while. Like it was really enlightening to watch people go through these harrowing adventures. And there's a lot of joy and a lot of love and laughter, but there's a lot of difficult moments, and there's a lot of frustration, and there's a lot of anxiety, and there's a lot of those things. And I think people don't talk about that stuff very often. They don't talk about that side. Not everyone is in love with their with their child from the get-go. This is a person who you have to get to know, and you have to get to know each other, and you have to learn who this person is going to be. And so I think our writers do a really good job at kind of keeping that conversation balanced.
Definitely. So kind of speaking to that a little bit, do you find that the experience of being on This Is Us, dealing with these very emotional, realistic family drama, relationship drama moments affect how you deal with relationships in your personal life, as far as, like being in touch with feelings and the importance of communication and things like that?
Yeah, I think if you're paying attention to this show and you have a difficult or complicated relationship in your life that you're having a hard time navigating, this show is a handbook on how to navigate it, on how to be of service to other people, how to take care of yourself, and make sure that you are healthy and living up to the highest version of yourself, while also making sure that you're able to take care of those people that you love. So the show's taught me a lot about relationships and about communication and about all of those things. It's been a masterclass.
Yeah. And being part of the show, it's a network show, like you said, so I'm sure it takes a good chunk of your time. But do you feel like the exposure kind of has given you more opportunity to be part of a wider range of projects, whether it's on the bigger end, like Guardians of the Galaxy or Stranger Things, or, something smaller like camping?
Yeah, I mean, the Guardians and Stranger Things happened before This Is Us. I filmed both of those things before This Is Us. But yeah, camping for sure. I mean, I think, you know, what this show does is, it's just, I mean, it's great advertisement for me as an actor, as far as it just on a purely, how do I want to say this, employment level. The writers have given me a great deal of, you know, comedy and drama and everything kind of all wrapped up into one. And I think I've been really honored by the showcase that they've provided. So, yeah.
Yeah. And season 4 of This Is Us is coming up very soon. So is there anything you can tease, even just like in broad strokes, about what we should expect?
The one thing that I will say about season 4, because as you know with this show, we're very tight-lipped, is that from the get-go, season 4 is going to go in a direction that nobody expects. It went in a direction that I didn't expect, and episode 1 caught me way off guard. So,
wow. So are there things you're still kind of hoping to see from Toby, kind of as you move forward into these last 3 seasons, just for yourself?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how if Toby can remain authentic to himself while continuing to be a good father and a good partner to Kate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, and good luck to you with the Emmys. It's going to be a blast.
So much.
Yeah, and for the rest of you, please hit subscribe for more Emmy season interviews and head to goldderby.com to make your award show predictions.
Awesome.